The city's homeless problem, however, is worse now than ever, according to a new report which says that nearly 115,000 people went homeless last year, including nearly 40,000 children. Coalition for the Homeless Workers lay the blame squarely at the feet of Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
He replaced the federal programs with a series of time-limited subsidies that give you only 1 or 2 years of housing assistance and then cut you off, even if the family is too poor to afford the apartment rent. And so as a result of that, lots of families are ending up making a return trip through the city shelter system. It's indisputable that we've got more homeless people now.
That the shelters are overpacked because people are losing their jobs. They're going from their apartments to homes to the city shelters. People that don't take the services, they don't know about them.
Among the many predictions about this recession, one has consistently proven to be true. Forecasters have said unemployment will continue to rise, and it has. Today, the government reported another 467,000 jobs lost in June, taking unemployment to 9.5%, and that's the highest level in more than a quarter century. The rising unemployment raises questions about the economic stimulus, which was supposed to create jobs.
Since the recession began, 6.5 million Americans have lost their jobs, and the unemployment rate has nearly doubled.
An unusual turn of events involving a Vero Beach homeless man who was attacked on camera.
It's the disturbing video gone viral. A homeless man in Vero Beach, sucker punched by a man, filmed by another man, then posted to Facebook.
Advocates for the homeless say this is actually more common than you think, that slapping the homeless for money is sort of a game.
They recently just passed the law. They made it a law. It is criminal in the city of Columbia, South Carolina, to be homeless. And they are actually arresting the homeless and shipping them to encampment centers. I mean, this is stated in an article on the Huffington Post. And
amazing. Give us the headline, because that's big. If they're making them go there, that's the beginning of the camps, and is what the Emergency Centers Establishment Act says they would condition people, because at first it'll just be poor people, and then it'll be everybody. What's going on is working poor, where families are living 10 to a house, and now Agenda 21 is trying to ban that.
For the past 8 years, Dan Duvall has run a sober living center for about 30 homeless people on his 72-acre ranch. In California, a 66-year-old man was jailed Monday after being accused of illegally housing homeless people on his ranch in San Luis Obispo.
Would you like to see all the executive orders that have been put into place to take over our nation, to have complete control over us, to take away our rights, round us up, and put us where they want us? Here we go. Executive Order 10990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of all highways and seaports. Executive Order 10995 allows the government to seize and control the communication media. Executive Order 10997 allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuels, and minerals. Executive Order 10998 allows the government to seize all means of transportation, including personal cars, trucks, or vehicles of any kind, and total control over highways, seaports, and waterways. Executive Order 10999 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 11000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Executive Order 11001 allows the government to take over all health, education, and welfare functions. Executive Order 11002 designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. Executive Order 11003 allows the government to take over all airports and aircraft, including commercial aircraft. Executive Order 11004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, designate areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Executive Order 11005 allows the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Executive Order 11051 specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tensions and economic or financial crisis. Executive Order 11310 grants authority to the Department of Justice to enforce the plans set out in executive orders, to institute industrial support, to establish judicial and legislative liaison to control all aliens, to operate penal and correctional institutions, and to advise and assist the President. Executive Order 11049 assigns emergency preparedness function to federal departments and agencies, consolidating 21 operative executive orders issued over a 15-year period. Executive Order 11921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credit, and the flow of money in U.S. financial institution in any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has broad powers in every aspect of the nation. General Frank Salzito, chief of FEMA's Civil Security Division, stated in a 1983 conference that he saw FEMA's role as a new frontier in the protection of individual and governmental leaders from assassination and of civil and military installations, from sabotage and or attack, as well as prevention of dissident groups from gaining access to U.S. opinion or a global audience in times of crisis. FEMA's powers were consolidated by President Carter to incorporate the National Security Act of 1947 that allows for strategic relocation of industries, services, government, and other essential economic activities, and to rationalize the requirements for manpower, resources, and production facilities. The 1950 Defense Production Act gives the President sweeping powers over all aspects of the economy. The Act of August 29, 1916 authorizes the security of the Army in time of war to take possession of any transportation system from transporting troops, material, or any other purpose related to the emergency. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act enables the President to seize the property of a foreign country or national. These powers were transferred to FEMA in a sweeping consolidation in 1979. There you have it. Everything is set into place. They've begun throwing the poor, the homeless, into the prison camps, the FEMA camps. Now all they have left to do is take the guns.
Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.